It's become a common term in today's society, and it is especially prevalent now with Election Day just hours away. But what is fake news? How did the term come about? And what does it mean for you? Our Ethan Kibbe spent last month looking into this issue, and he's joining us now here in the studio with part one, Ethan, of your special report called Not Fake News. How did the idea, Ethan, of fake news even become so widespread?
Eva, although it's become significantly more common in the last 5 or 6 years, demonizing the media actually has roots that stretch back hundreds of years. But several recent developments have made the practice more widespread and sowed more distrust in what were once trusted news sources.
It's a buzzword at modern political rallies.
Fake news. Fake news.
Accusations against the media ranging from national outlets to your local news station.
I'm looking forward to the day of meeting some honest journalists. I'll be fair and balanced.
Longtime reporter turned political consultant Dennis Roddy has seen it all.
I was the fake news at one point, I guess.
Although it's become more prevalent recently, Roddy says generations of journalists faced attacks on their credibility.
And that's the way it is.
In Europe, especially in Germany, in the 19th century, you had what was called the Lügenpresse, which was basically their term for fake news. That's how politicians attacked journalists that were inconvenient to their agendas.
In Europe, it came to a head in Nazi Germany with politicians silencing journalists. 80 years later in America, seeds of distrust are taking root.
That's a very good question. That's a very good question. What caused us? How did we get here?
It's a question to ponder for veteran newsman and consultant Cesar Aldama and Erie News Now news director Scott McDowell.
You're fake. You're not telling the truth. You didn't do your homework. The sky isn't blue today.
Aldama and McDowell agree social media has eroded public trust. Studies show it's the second most used source for news, but it's the least trusted among the public.
Everybody has one of these. Everybody's a journalist. Everybody can declare themselves a journalist. It's so difficult for people to understand what is fake, what is true, and to measure that out.
Social media becomes an echo chamber, compounded by cable shows disguising opinion as fact. It's slanted entertainment, driving a wedge into the United States.
You can find whatever you want, but not necessarily what you need. The current condition is a perfect formula for dividing a country.
And it's worth noting, although social media and those so-called cable news shows likely hold the lion's share of the blame, even we local journalists did play a role in getting to this point. Now, not here, we can proudly say that we have local owners, but in many places, corporate takeovers of TV stations and newspapers leave journalists beholden to shareholders and not the American public. And in the accelerated pace of today's news landscape, you'll see it. Sometimes accuracy is sacrificed for speed. But, it's one thing to identify a problem. It's another thing to try to actually solve it. We'll look at that coming up tonight on Erie News Now at 11 in part 2 of our report. For now, though, Ethan Kibbe, Erie News Now.